Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Massa Tutorials. We see where mathematical literacy begins. Alright, so let's see. Today we are diving into the S.H.S 2 or S.H.S 3 mathematics. As we are doing percentages 2, and this is value added tax, that's the VAT. So if you like it or yes, you'll be getting a question on percentages to try your hands on. So value added tax, which can also be shortened as what? VAT. So now let's see, what then is VAT? Okay, what then is VAT? So a VAT, it is a tax. So take note of that. It is a tax or extra money charged on goods and services. It is a tax or extra money charged on goods and services. This charge is calculated as the percentage of the basic cost of the good or service, or of the goods or services. So this charge is calculated as the percentage of the basic cost of the goods or what? Services. So now for VAT, that's the value added tax, is an indirect tax because we never see the amount charged on that goods and what? Services. We have another tax which is the income tax calculation, and that one is the direct tax because that one you will see the amount charged on that. So for indirect, for the direct tax, which is the income tax, that one, if you work in the government sector or if government pays you, then the government has the mandate, or there is compulsory for the government to deduct an amount from your salary, okay, at the end of the period, so that the government will deduct the amount, some amount of salary from your salary to help in the construction of roads, schools, hospitals, etc., etc. Or we can see that the social amenities. Okay, so for value added tax, you never see the amount charged on that, unless for some particular goods and services which are bought at, let's say, the shopping mall, or let's say the Melcom. That one, they will give you a receipt of what you bought, and the deductions for the taxes will be there, which is the national health insurance levy. We can get the value added tax to is there, so that they will give you the amount, so that when you calculate for the total cost of the item bought, you see that there's the amount you paid. Okay, so for value added tax, we can say that it is indirect tax, and for income tax, it is the direct tax. So value added tax can also be called the indirect tax. That's the indirect tax. So now let's go. So we are saying that this charge is calculated as the percentage of the basic cost of the good or what? Services. So we can say that VAT is equal to what? The percentage, which is X percent. So the VAT rate. So this X is the VAT what? The VAT rate of the basic cost. So which means times what? The basic cost times the basic cost. All right. Now let's proceed again. The cost of an item without VAT is called the basic cost. So now we are diving deeper and deeper. The cost of an item without VAT, which means you are not paying VAT, you are not paying any value added tax, then it is what? The basic cost. We've not added the VAT to the good or the services you rendered, then it is the basic cost. So take note of that. So we can say that VAT exclusive cost is the same thing as what? The basic cost, because it is without what? VAT. So VAT exclusive cost is what? Is the same thing as the basic cost. Now let's proceed. And this is always 100%. So we can say that the basic cost or the VAT exclusive cost is always 100%. It's always 100%. All right, so let's continue. And the cost of item with VAT is called VAT inclusive cost. So now, when I bought or when I buy an item, so when I buy an item and there is VAT inside or they've included VAT inside, then we call it what? VAT inclusive cost. So VAT inclusive cost means that what? We've added VAT into what? Your basic cost, and this is what? VAT inclusive cost. So we can say that VAT inclusive cost is the same thing as what? The basic cost plus what? The VAT. Take note of that. VAT inclusive cost is equal to what? The basic cost plus the VAT. So when you add the VAT to the basic cost, we get what? VAT inclusive cost. And this is always calculated as 100 plus X percent. Why? Because the 100% is the basic cost, and this X percent or X is the VAT what? Rate. So when you add the rate of VAT to the basic cost, you get what? 100 plus X, which is equal to what? The VAT inclusive cost. Relax and understand one or two things under value added tax. It's very, very simple. Now, the VAT inclusive cost, or simply we can say that VAT inclusive cost is the same thing as the total cost. Or we can say that the selling price. So the VAT inclusive cost, another word for that is what? The total cost, or we can say that what? The selling price. So when you go and we have the selling price of this item or of this mobile phone is 3,000 Ghana cedis, then that means we have what? VAT inclusive cost inside. You can never see it unless the money or the total cost is break down for you to check the amount for individual item or the VAT amount charged on the good. I will clear here. So now VAT inclusive cost is equal to what? The basic cost plus what? The VAT charge. And this is what? 100 plus X what? Percent. What I want you to note is very, very important. I said VAT is calculated as what? X percent times what? The basic cost, which can also be written as X over 100 times the basic cost. Is very, very important to note these things. So if you want to calculate VAT, it's just you take the VAT rate, then you multiply it by the basic cost. The basic cost, we can say that that's the original amount. That's the original price. The original price of the item. Now the VAT inclusive cost is equal to a basic cost. And the basic cost is equivalent to 100%. And now the VAT inclusive cost. Don't forget that VAT exclusive cost is what? It's without VAT, which means there is no VAT inside. So it's the same thing as the basic cost. That's why we are saying that if there is no VAT added, then it is referring to as the basic cost. And now, VAT inclusive cost means that there is VAT inside. So it is basic cost plus what? The VAT, and this is 100 plus what? X what? Percent. And also we can say that VAT inclusive cost is the same thing as what? The total cost, and which is what? The selling price of the item. All right. So let's proceed. So mathematically, what I've said is the mathematical things. 1, VAT is equal to rate times what? The basic cost. Then 2, VAT inclusive cost or selling price is equal to what? The basic cost plus what? The VAT. And you know that VAT is calculated as what? X percent times the basic cost. Then now in Ghana the VAT rate is 12.5%, subject to change. I don't know whether they've changed the VAT rate in Ghana here. So in Ghana the VAT rate is 12.5%, subject to change. I don't know for now whether there has been a change in the VAT rate. All right. Okay, so let's note one or two things here. let's note one or two things here. One, giving the cost price of an item, it simply implies the basic cost or VAT exclusive cost. Note something here. Note. What they are saying here is what? Giving the cost price of an item. So the cost price is the original price, the actual price, the catalog price. So that's what we are talking about. The cost price is the original price, is the catalog price, is the marked price. So giving the cost price of an item, so the cost price is the same thing as what? The marked price, and which is the same thing as the catalog price. So the catalog price, which is the same thing as what? The basic cost. And this one is the same thing as the VAT exclusive cost. I will clear here. So kindly please take note of that. It's very, very important. So the VAT inclusive cost is equal to total cost, which is the same thing as the selling price. And now what's the cost price? The cost price is equal to what? The marked price or the catalog price, or what? The basic cost, which is the same thing as the VAT exclusive cost. So we have other names to describe what? To describe the basic cost. We have other names. So we have various names, several names to describe the basic cost. Now, our last note here, giving the selling price of an item, it simply implies what? VAT inclusive cost. So when I give you the selling price of an item, it means that I've included VAT inside, so we call it what? VAT inclusive cost. Don't forget, basic cost is the same thing as 100%, and our VAT inclusive cost is 100 plus X, where X is the VAT rate. It's very, very simple, to understand. Very, very simple. Alright, so let's proceed to our next thing and let's try examples on it. Have a nice day. Bye bye.